What's up everyone? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Phil and I make short films and commercials and projects using my iPhone alone. And today we're going to continue diving into LumaFusion. If you're new once again to the channel, I've started a little bit of a series of videos kind of walking through LumaFusion using the M1. We're going to continue that today. So I'm pretty excited and, let's cue the intro. All right, so we are back on the desktop. I'm going to go ahead and launch LumaFusion. And so usually, whenever we start these projects, I'll typically start from scratch, but I'm just going to continue on the project that we were working on the last video. If you're new, like I said, to the channel and you kind of want to walk and see the different timelines and how to create them, you can go check out those videos and you'll be able to kind of get a run through of how those work. So in this particular video, we are going to focus on some color grading, some very basic kind of giving you the tools that you need to know in order for you to be up and running in LumaFusion. So we're on our timeline here. And so this is the clip that I want to use. Now for me, whenever I am filming, I typically film in log, right on Filmic Pro, which is the app that I use to film all of my stuff. I always do it in log. And then also on the DJI drone, they have something called Decine-alike. So that's what I typically like to use because it's a flat profile, and then it allows me to come into programs like LumaFusion and color grade and start working through those. So we're gonna kind of hover through the clip we want to work on. So you can either double click on the actual clip, or you can go to the pencil, whichever is easier for you. So I'm going to double click here and it's going to pull up the timeline. And so here on the top are all of your options laid out of what you can do when it comes to the color grading. You can go with an original where you can just kind of adjust it according to what you want, but it does have some options, for some cool colors, some warm colors. These are some presets that LumaFusion has, which are really, really nice. Typically, I go with an original. Then you have the LUTs that are available also. So you can go through them and see the ones that you like. Now, then they have a couple other things like thermal, X-ray, things like that, some vignettes. So you can go ahead and kind of use whichever one you feel. So there are some good little options. There are some options here when it comes to this, and so you can go ahead and check those out. Now on the iPad or on the phone, this is not going to be a side scrolling, it's going to be an up and down scrolling. So that's something that I noticed that was different by doing it on the M1 and doing it on my phone like I've always done. But here they have, like I said, they have some blur effects, they have some motion effects, and some swish effects. The thing about LumaFusion is that you have to essentially create everything you want to use. They don't really have any created, zoom in, zoom outs, pans, and all that kind of stuff. There are some guys out there that have some preset packages that you can purchase, but LumaFusion in itself does not have a lot of those. The next one here is also some weird things that they offer, like some big crystals, some pixelated stuff, some kaleidoscopes. And then the last one is the Luma Key and Chroma Key, which I'll go over in a little bit. But let's go ahead and we're going to go with an original. So I'm going to double click on that. As you can see, it's going to populate right here. And then what I like to do also is I always like to put a LUT. Now there's a LUT that I really, really like from Filmic, which is the D flat. So when I go ahead and double click that, you can see that the image already has changed. Now LumaFusion works in layers, so the top layer is always going to be the predominant, and as you work down, it's going to, do less and less. So what I typically like to do is I like to put my LUT on the top, And the reason why is that if I put the LUT on the bottom, at least for LumaFusion, if I start messing with the footage, then essentially what's going to happen is it's going to affect that. So I typically like to put it on the top, and this is something that I learned from my time of learning LumaFusion and watching some tutorials and videos. But as I come up here, when I click here, it's going to spill over with some options. You're going to have brightness, contrast, saturation, vibrance. You're going to have your reds, your greens, your blues, your gamma. So, you know, it's all on a little line based. There's no type of waveforms or anything like that. So in this one right here, I'll bump up the saturation just a little bit to make those greens kind of pop. And then I'll throw some vibrance on there too. As you can see, it's looking great. You know, I like to, if I want to do maybe like an early morning and I want to get that feel, I can pump up those reds and make it, you know, give it that red look if I want it. But typically, you know, for this particular shot, I'll throw a little bit of blue in there, and I think I'm pretty good with that. I'll probably bring the saturation down just a little bit, but it just goes to show you how much it, you know, how little goes so far. Now, if I unclick these right here with the eyes, man, it doesn't even look like the original photo. It's crazy on when I look at these the footage that I put together, and I start putting these LUTs and I start putting these color grades, how much of a difference that makes on the footage. So super cool. So now that I've got my color grade, and once again, if I want to add more things, I can go ahead and add it, but however, it's going to change that preset. You know, so if I go back to the original, then, you know, I'll have to probably just, you know, color grade it a little bit again. But it does not allow multiple layers of presets that you can create. So that's, once again, these are some of the limitations that you have with LumaFusion, but still, you know, I've had some great success and I've done some awesome videos in LumaFusion on my phone with some of the drone footage that I get. And once again, I'm super happy with it. Also here, for you to know, you can do a blend. So if you don't want all of that LUT in there, you can kind of control that blend of how much that LUT is seeping into the footage. And then you can kind of go from there. But I'm super happy right now with this color grade that I've done. Once again, nice and simple, nothing crazy. I'm going to go back to my timeline. And so the thing is that LumaFusion doesn't allow, like in other editing softwares, like a timeline just for your color grade. You actually have to go individually. And so what I did is I ended up, you know, because I was working on this video, I ended up color grading this one too. But if we were to start from blank and then I go to this one so I can have the same look, I can double click on this and I can go to the star icon, and essentially I can create a preset of mine. So I can go here, I'll just leave it effect DJI, and then I'm gonna hit the plus sign. And so now I've created that preset right there. So I'll go into the video right here that's flat, I'll double click it, I'll go to the star icon, and then there's right here, effect DJI, double click on it, and that same color grade is going to actually you know, show up. So once again, that's a little bit of a shortcut how I typically do mine, especially when I have a long timeline. I'll typically do it this way because then it's just going to save me time opposed to having to color grade every single video or clip that I put into my timeline. So I'm pretty happy with that now. I'm going to show you a little bit of the green screen effect. You know, any of my videos, I'll have a logo of mine on there, or I will go ahead and put some of the social media icons on there. So in my photos, it's already in here. So let me find it. And here it is. So those are my icons. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab it and I'm going to put it on the timeline here, the third one. The reason why is because I already have something here on my titles. So if I had a long title, I wouldn't be able to put it on that same one. I would put it right above. So I click on it. It's going to take me to my screen. The first thing I want to do is I want to fit to frame. So I'm going to grab the box. I'm going to scoot that all the way, make it nice and small that I can see. I'll go into my color grade side right here and I'll click the little keyhole and I'll double click Chroma Key and boom, that is done. You can see the green screen went away. I want to put them in the corner. You know, this is by far one of the easiest things that I love about LumaFusion. I'm constantly making logos and icons and I'm putting green screens in the background, and I know that I can bring them into LumaFusion and it's going to do this no problem at all. So I've created that. If I want, I can actually stretch this out because I want it to be on my whole video. So I've gone ahead and stretched it out and boom, right there. And what I like to do also is to put a transition in the beginning of it, especially if it's not starting from the very, very beginning of the video. I'll put something like that. So here we go, and it pops up in the corner. It's looking great. Then we're gonna have the title popped up, which we did on the last video. So you can see, I mean, it's coming together really nice, and it's super, like I said, super easy to do. It is not hard. And you can kind of like play around with it, play around with the different features that's on there. But that's gonna wrap it up for this video, guys. Once again, I wanna thank you for you know, coming and checking out this video. If you've lasted the whole video, thank you so much. Do me a favor and give a like, smash that like button. You know, go ahead and subscribe to the page as we continue to do these LumaFusion, you know, tutorials running on the M1. But once again, like I said, these videos are compatible. You can take this information and apply it using your iPhone or your iPad, and you'll have similar results with no problem. But thanks a lot again, guys, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.